You're listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast.
You're listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast. My name is Shawn Wilkie, and along with my awesome co-host, we interview the innovators in this space every week. Super excited to get started. Ivan, please kick us off.
Hey, I'm Ivan Zach. Very excited to introduce today Adrian Valente. We are going to talk about the company named Sunbit. Adrian joined Sunbit in 2016 and supports training, enablement, and community engagement. He's a director of training and enablement. Adrian is a resident subject matter expert for all things Sunbit. He hosts podcasts, events, interviews, and coaching sessions across all industries Sunbit serves. Adrian, welcome to the show. Tell us, we said so many times Sunbit. What does Sunbit do?
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. I'm a big fan and appreciate the time. Sunbit is just bringing buy now, pay later technology to local everyday needs. Have you ever done any online shopping and seen a buy now, pay later payment option when checking out?
So it's like you spread the payments or something.
Yeah, exactly. It got really popular with COVID, more people ordering online for stuff. And, there's a lot of companies that focus on buy now, pay later for e-commerce, fast fashion. You can get a video game console, a Peloton bike, or a Gucci bag, but local everyday needs are underserved. So Sunbit hyper focuses on those local need-based everyday needs, those industries. So we focus on car repair, dental care. You go to your ophthalmologist, you're visiting your optician, you need new eyewear. You go to your vet, animal hospitals. These are the places you find Sunbit. We are meeting people at the point of need to help them get exactly what they need today and simply pay over time.
That's very interesting. So tell me how it works, because it sounds like you're in a different verticals. That seems like one of those that you're focused on.
Mhm.
So it's not like your go-to market is any store, anywhere. You are taking niche verticals and going into them. Is that
Yes,
the go-to-market strategy?
exactly. What we found is a lot of folks, when they are faced with a situation like at the vet, this actually happened to me 2 weeks ago. I have my dog Churro. He's kind of laying down here with a cone on. We're actually going this afternoon to get his stitches out. And you're sitting in the exam room, and maybe you have an expectation of what you need as a pet parent for your pet, but then recommendations are made and costs are brought to your attention that are unexpected. And that moment is so incredibly stressful and emotional for people, but nobody likes to talk about it. Vet technicians tell me all the time how difficult it is to have those conversations. And here I am, my dog had Churro. He had some lumps on his body. He's getting older, and I was a little worried. So to have them removed and do a biopsy and all that, it was over $1,000. And I
It's not
should
cheap.
never have to think about my pet's health in terms of dollars and cents. I would do anything. But the data shows us a very compelling picture. You have, before COVID, 40% of Americans couldn't put together $400 for an unexpected expense. There was actually a more recent news article from CNBC about how 56% of Americans can't cover a $1,000 emergency expense with
Mm,
savings.
mm.
So when you think about these treatment needs for pet parents and their pets, it's how do we provide a tool to help them get the treatment they need now and simply split it up? Just pay over a couple of months. And the biggest difference with what Sunbit's doing is that we don't do hard credit checks like traditional financing does. Because not everybody can sign up for a credit card. Credit cards decline at more than half of Americans who apply.
Mm.
And the world didn't really need another form of financing. It just needed something better. Our CEO Rod Levertov tells this story that when him and his family emigrated here from Israel, he was at Costco with his children, his wife, and they encouraged him to sign up for the Costco credit card. So he spent all this time with this paper application, invasive questions. 20 minutes later, gets declined. There's a hard credit check dinging his credit, impacting his credit. He was embarrassed, frustrated, all the emotions that go along with that. And that experience was the catalyst for how do we do this better? You know,
Mm.
you are more than just your credit score. there is an opportunity to use technology to broaden the spectrum of care, to broaden that spectrum of access for pet parents to get what they need from their vet. And we've just whittled it down to a very simple process. We use technology to have patients enter some very basic details, and in a matter of seconds, over 90% of people get approved. And they can get exactly what they need right there on the spot, pay over time. And all of the partners we have in these industries, like dentists, ophthalmologists, and veterinarians, really appreciate what we're doing. Because my experience 2 weeks ago, I'm sitting in the exam room, the vet technician brings me a bill to approve so I can schedule the treatment. And at no point, and we see this everywhere, at no point is a conversation had about options. I see there's an ad on the shelf behind her with a credit card, but do I want another credit card? Can I get that credit card? Am I going to get approved? Is it going to do a hard check? And now I'm having this conversation with myself in a very stressful environment where my pet's sitting right there and I need this now. And in that moment, I was able to use Sunbit, and that was really helpful. But our goal is, how do we get this technology into more hands? How do we enable more people with the tools?
It's so awesome, Adrian. So, I mean, obviously there's a place for this technology, but talk to us about how you guys integrate when it comes to pet insurance, other loyalty programs, and other discount programs. How does Sunbit play in that arena of other options, and where's your sweet spot?
Yeah, so how Sunbit really integrates with the day-to-day, other tools, other solutions. We actually have a few different options. We have a very simple option that doesn't integrate with anything, because not every practice has the means or the budget to go really fancy on technology. So Sunbit can sit by itself as an iPad app. Either we provide an iPad or they have their own, and the Sunbit app takes care of everything. We can scan a patient's ID, a pet parent can see their options in 30 seconds. And we don't ask any invasive questions. And vet techs love it because it's so fast. They will then just use the tablet to handle the whole transaction. We direct deposit the funds into their bank account next business day for the practice, and we take care of servicing that loan with the patient. And we have a mobile app for patients to use to make payments, change details, all that fun stuff. And we have an amazing customer care team based in the US. They're all in Las Vegas. So we have a US call center to handle everything for our partners and customers alike. But we are also launching integrations and partnerships with other software vendors. If you think about a lot of the other systems that are being used by many practices, there's an opportunity for Sunbit's buy now, pay later technology to be integrated with those things to enable multiple touch points, different opportunities for patients and pet parents to see their options as they interact with software. So it's really about, how do we make it easier for the staff? How do we make it easier for these pet parents? And can we leverage technology to really bring a lot of this closer together? I can't share any specific integrations at the moment. It's very new, and we do have some coming out pretty soon where you may see us in patient information management systems or any sort of management software that's being used, text messaging systems, appointment scheduling systems. We are currently ramping up our integration strategy to make this even easier.
That's so awesome. We have multiple vets listening to this. How is this not a new credit card or a new credit thing? And how do you get through approval in these 90% of cases? Like, what is that new technology or finance system that is backing this, that it's easier than your typical competitors are Scratch Pay, Care Credit, and folks like that?
What we're doing really speaks to the power of our technology and the underwriting that is used to provide financing options to a very broad spectrum of people. We use very sophisticated machine learning and modern mathematics to look at a person with all the data we have access to, and then start to make personalized offers for each person. That's also the crazy part about Sunbit. It's custom for everybody. You and I could have the exact same credit score and get different numbers, because you and I are more than just our credit scores. There's so much more. And when you look at older traditional financing, a lot of that math hasn't really changed much since credit cards evolved since, what did they come out in the 1950s? The fact that they still require hard credit checks when you apply. So what we're doing is just a soft credit check. It doesn't impact your credit score. It's not dinging your score. And we're able to approve a lot of folks using personalized payment plan options. That's how we approve so many people. It's not a one size fits all. And we are providing options to people with the greatest likelihood that they can pay back. And we do that by helping to eliminate long term debt. So, a lot of our payment plan options, the personalized financing that we're providing in just seconds, amazing tech, amazing developers that we have working at Sunbit. I think we now have it's almost 100 people just on development. We take our technology very seriously. It's the most important cornerstone of the business next to customer care. But yeah, it's that proprietary little risk assessment engine we built that powers Sunbit technology to take very minimal information, because we don't ask any invasive questions. We don't ask you how much money you make or what your employment status is or what you pay on rent or mortgage. No, it's just scan your basic details, like scan a driver's license or state issued ID. We just need your name, date of birth, address, phone, and email. That's it. Pretty. That's what drew me to Sunbit in 2016 as one of the earliest employees. I was when one of the co-founders, Tal Reisenfeld, showed me that experience, that patient journey, pulled out this iPad, scanned my ID, and in seconds, I was approved and looking at monthly payment options for me to make selections on. And I said, I've never seen anything like this. I want to do this. And that's why now cool. I focus on training. I like teaching.
Yeah.
This.
And I can tell that you take technology seriously with the quality of your microphone. And unfortunately, Shawn is joining today from the public restroom, and that's why we see hear all that background. But you've done one in hotel from the regular one, and now it's public.
Actually, Ivan, it's even better. I'm actually in a stairwell in Chicago at the Chicago Vet Show. It's the quietest place I could find.
Oh man. So here's the question. Is there a mechanism, and I'm just brainstorming here because you said that this is, no embarrassment. You're still checking people if they can be approved. Is there a thing, let's say if I was sitting in line and I know that it's going to cost money and there's somewhere an ad that this is powered by Sunbit in this clinic, can I go quietly on it and think like, I probably will need $3,000. Can I just do that in the waiting room just to sort of rate myself?
Absolutely. Whether it's through the tablet we provide or an integration with other systems, part of our platform will allow patients to pre-qualify themselves, where privately from their own device, they can simply type in those basic details and see, what is my approval amount. They also can start plugging in numbers just to play with costs. So if they just want to ballpark or estimate how much treatment will be as a pet parent, it really helps with planning and budgeting for a lot of those treatment recommendations. So yeah, we call it our pre-qualification part of the platform. We do a couple of things where not only can patients pre-qualify themselves, and then of course, when it's time to pay, Sunbit is simply a new payment method, debit, credit, Sunbit. And with integrations, when costs are listed anywhere, we can do monthly payment examples, or what we call pay as low as X dollars a month. So as patients navigate treatment options and a lot of these integrations we have, especially looking at plans, estimates, invoices, they can see a monthly payment estimate next to the full price. So for them, it's a very simple question of, well, do you want to pay for all of it right now, or would you rather pay over time?
Really like that.
Yeah, Adrian, a quick question for you. So this is not new technology. This buy now, pay later has been around since the 80s and maybe even before. I understand that you've got a proprietary, credit approval algorithm, but what else makes you guys unique? There's hundreds of options out there that do the same thing. So let's really get into the weeds. Let's get into the technology. Here's your opportunity to sell to our large audience of veterinarians. Like, why are you so unique?
There was a previous episode you guys hosted with Taylor Kavanaugh from Pet Desk. And that one struck me because he said something about innovation. If a user, even with all the innovation with technology, if a user can't figure out how to use it, if they don't know how to use the innovation, it doesn't matter. And Taylor talked a lot about their focus on customer success. We refer to it as partner success. We have a massive partner success organization. We have people in the field who travel to visit a lot of our partners, these practices that have Sunbit, to help with coaching, training, talk marketing, anything you need. They are the true consultant for all things Sunbit. We have an internal success team that really focuses on helping to launch train and empower a lot of these partners and practices that join Sunbit or use our technology. Me, for example, I host a lot of webinars where we have a lot of open forums with our partners to ask questions. We have fun along the way. We have a whole user community called Sun Beasts. That's what we call all the certified users who offer Sunbit to their pet parents. And that's turned into a huge community. In fact, as of right now, we have over 76,000 certified users nationwide who are trained to use Sunbit, who are certified on our technology to offer it at the point of need for the folks who need it most, their patients. And they offer it, the practices that do well offer it to every patient, every time, every pet parent, every time. But what makes us different is that Sunbit was built from the ground up as a face-to-face experience, the in-person experience. This was not built for online shopping, even though we do have e-commerce capabilities, but everyone can do that. And you make a really good point, Shawn. Like, there's other vendors that do this, but do they have the brick and mortar in-person experience we do? Many don't. Trying to replicate what we do from a training perspective is also very difficult. Not only do we employ those in-person visits, the remote consultations and coaching sessions, but also our larger scale events. We do fun quiz nights and Kahoot games, and we have a rewards program for Sunbeast users. We're actually developing an app just for Sunbeasts that will help with training and have a knowledge center and all sorts of fun stuff, just to make their day-to-day easier. Because really, my whole goal with training and enablement is how do we help everyone feel comfortable and confident with the technology, using it day to day? How do I talk about this? When do I even bring it up? And all the things we do with our tablet, with our integrations, with the coaching methodologies, it's all about just really trying to simplify what is normally or traditionally an awkward conversation. How can we use technology and coaching to smooth it out?
I love it. It makes tons of sense. Now, I mean, the real question is what's in it for the Sun Beasts? Like, do they get a certain percentage of this financing charge that's done over time? How do they benefit? Where's the rubber hit the road, and why should people be jumping up and down to refer people to finance their pet care across, months or years? What's in it for the veterinary clinic that could always use a bit more margin?
I think first, I always try to touch on broadening access to care. That is the number one, and in my opinion, the number one goal of having Sunbit. You are trying to help pet parents with options. So it's great. There's a credit card option, and now there's a buy now, pay later option. Sunbit technology helps with that. Can we make it easier and less stressful for pet parents by giving them payment options? That is the number one goal. So a lot of the certified users, these Sun Beasts, just appreciate having something that can really help people. And that feels good. And knowing that even if someone doesn't get approved, hey, there was no hard credit check, didn't waste their time. It literally just took a couple of seconds. They didn't even fill out any paperwork. So fast, so easy. So the experience of using it feels a lot better. And then with the engagement we have with Sun Beasts, they feel heard, they feel seen. And with our Sunbit Rewards program, it helps to make it fun. So they're earning points. They can show up, they earn Sunbit Rewards points for showing up to my training webinars, just as a thank you for their time. And they can use those points for a lot of fun stuff, just to help with a gamification of the experience. But at the end of the day, I think people just appreciate that we're really focused on them. We hear you, we see you, and we want to help as much as we can. And that's a true testament to Sunbit's customer care and success operations.
That's awesome. I think that there's probably another important thing that you're doing that you might have not realized, but you could use in your training, because this is true. The big problem in our industry is burnout, and a huge factor of burnout is economic euthanasia, because that happens a lot. So when clients cannot afford the treatment, this is the only probably domain where if your client can't pay, you can kill the patient, which is horrible in my mind. And I've been an emergency veterinarian for 12 years, and that's this is one of the worst part of our job,
Yes.
that this is what unfortunately happens. So by broadening access to care, you can decrease the economic euthanasia as well as decrease the burnout in our domain. So I think that could be another very important part in the training that you provide to your customers.
Very insightful. Yeah.
And so we're running up out of time here as usual, but if someone is listening to this and says, hey, I want to try this, I don't want to have these other platforms, how do they engage with you? How do they find you? And how do they find other sun beasts?
Yeah. Sunbit.com is always the best way to start. We're going to be adding a lot of video testimonials from patients who've used Sunbit and other practices who've used Sunbit. So it'll be a good opportunity to really hear from someone who's not from Sunbit about it, hear from their peers. So we're really excited about that update to our website coming soon. And also you can reach out to us at any time, training@sunbit.com. I read those emails. If anyone wants to send us a note or has any questions, I'm happy to field that stuff. We also have a lot of other folks that can help out with whether or not an integration makes sense for your practice, or maybe using our tablet and keeping it simple. Some people don't want to integrate stuff. They like to keep things siloed, and then that we can do that too. So yeah, just check out sunbit.com, follow our LinkedIn and our Facebook pages. Those are probably the best ways to stay plugged in and get started on the journey.
That's awesome. Well, we always ask 2 questions at the end of the show. The question number 1, is there a book, TED Talk, YouTube video, or any other source of information that recently inspired you that you would recommend to our listeners?
There's a TED Talk from Dr. Gawande, Atul Gawande. It's called Want to Get Great at Something? Get a Coach. I personally have a voice coach just because I do so much stuff on Zoom and microphone that I really appreciate having someone to coach me on something that's not work. Because at work, I have wonderful mentors and a lot of people to help teach me things. But having a coach, that was a really powerful TED Talk. It really framed why I liked taking classes. It really helped with understanding why I appreciate coaching so much and why I like being coached. So as a training and enablement professional, I spend all my day teaching others. But Dr. Gawande talks about how, as a surgeon, how he had a coach come with him into the room and provide feedback from a peer. I highly recommend it. It was really, really powerful, especially if you're into training and enablement. That's what I would recommend.
Awesome, Adrian. And then our last question is another innovator in the veterinary domain.
Robert Marr, the director of ventures at NVA. He's actually out on paternity leave right now, and I know Rob's relatively new to the vet space, but he's done some great work on helping NVA reinvent the way that we visit our vet. I think he would have some great insights on the future of the veterinary space and how we'll be visiting veterinarians in the future.
Thank you so much for listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast. If you want to hear about our new episodes, please follow us on any social media channel. Also, you can check out our website at veterinaryinnovationpodcast.com. See you next week.